No. Okay, so for people who doesn't know me, I'm Muthu. Worked with Sunlow for 6 years now. Look over production for now and work with R&D too. So today we're going to cover installation. So it'll be from like all type of products we have. I'm going to cover, but feel free to stop and ask me any specific questions on the product when I'm going over that product. After the installation products, I'm going to show some troubleshooting on Neo and Zero Gravity. Those two, how to troubleshoot it. Then I have a small wall with some products installed. I can leave you hands-on to feel a couple of them. And I have some prototypes which is coming soon for like say less than 3 months time. We're going to get that product in. I want to show a couple of items. Then for quick programming, I'm going to brush up quick programming on the Sonos 30 motors, Somfy motors. Then we're going to head on lunch. Lunch is probably 1 o'clock. Before that, we'll do 10-15 minute break around like say 11:30 in that time. So yeah, feel free to stop and ask any questions you have. So we'll start. The format I'm going to go by is on our website we have install instructions. So I'm going to just walk through each product like that way. So we'll cover most of them. So for example, the basic one, like some might be repetitive, some you know very well, but just I'll run it through a little bit faster. So just to brush it up. So for open roll, so when we have open roll, we have bases like we have 3 size brackets. So there's 40 millimeter, 55, and 75. So based on the roll, we provide you the bracket. Say if it's a line voltage motor, a big roll up, then 2-inch tube or something, we give you a bigger bracket. If not, like the medium size. Most commonly used is 40, which does most of the job, unless you go into a big motor or like anything like that. All three brackets we have covers. It looks a little bit different shaped on each of them. Unless you're going side by side, you won't notice it, but there is this one is a little bit different shape than the other two, but it's available in all 4 colors. I'm going to say no brown, but cream, white, gray, and black. 3 colors. There is another bracket we use on a small cassette. It's a 32 millimeter bracket. We don't use that as an open roll. But if you have a situation where you're really narrow depth and you want to get the small shade up, we can do this still. Only thing is I don't have any covers for them. If you can use the same covers as the 40, it looks a little bit bigger. But this comes handy like on a couple of jobs I did this like basement window where they have a metal grill on it and they want to blind inside the grill. As like it's only like 1.5 inch or 2 inch depth. So I went with this bracket and it worked. Like so, it's an option available. So that's open roll bracket. So all those brackets you can do it as a ceiling mount, wall mount, and lateral mount. So you don't need any special bracket for wall. Sorry. Oops. Oh, I'm in. So it's the same bracket used for all 3 style mounting. You don't have to have a different L bracket or extra brackets. You don't need anything like that. So open roll, when we do chain blind, as you know that we are doing a safety shield now based on the law. There are commercial jobs we can do with the old style P-clip still. It's a gray area where we have commercial jobs, we can still do P-clips. But this opening, you should have like say from 6 inches to 7 inches. Varies from based on the system to system because of the cassette size and the height of the profile on the top. But so least you should have 6, max will be 7. You won't have more than that. The rule is 44 centimeter, like as you know, but the 44 centimeter is including the bottom opening and the top opening. Even though there's no chain, they count it as a loop. So that's why it's down to 7. Otherwise, it can be up to 8.5 or something. But so, like I mentioned, like there's 2 size clutches we have. One is a smaller clutch. So when we use a 32 millimeter, we use this clutch. So the smaller depth and those stuff, open roll, you can use this clutch. It'll hold it. The tube goes in there is 1.25 tube, not 1.5. Our regular is 1.5, which is this clutch. So these are the 2 clutches we have in open roll. The one difference you're going to see is the side of the clutch. You have the 2 hooks and the hole in the middle, right? That all will be empty. You know, open roll, fascia, dual shade, any of those you get, you will have an opening here. But if you're getting a cassette, usually there's a locking pin here that's only for shipping purpose. So it doesn't come out of the shipping. So the set screw, if you don't have to remove the set screw when you're operating the blind. It's only when you have to service the blind, then you have to take the set screw out to pull the clutch out. Otherwise, you can leave it there forever. Nothing will happen. So the reason we say it might come out of the cassette, the reason is because our end plugs are spring-loaded end plugs. Right? So when in shipping, like if the spring pops out and the clutch comes out, that's why we have the locking pin. So we haven't had anything coming out after we had the shipping lock. But before we had a couple which came out of the shipping, like people throw boxes like hell. Like in warehouse, they just like flip from one end to the other end of the box, right? So the end plug, we have two styles. One is like heavy duty, the other one is a regular. Unless it's a line voltage motor or like a big tube motor, like you will have this end plug. Only those cases you have the heavy duty end plugs. Those are the two end plugs we have. That's open roll chain. Any questions so far? Okay. So open roll and Neo, for example, that's the next one. The troubleshooting I'll run to the last. So you see on the second profile here, that's the open roll Neo. Even though it's called open roll, there is a head rail. The reason is the spring has to be locked in tension when we make the blind and send it out. That's why this head rail helps to keep the two brackets together and keeps the tension in place. So mounting, you can mount this wall or ceiling only. You cannot do a lateral mount, but it's a really slim bracket. It goes in the wall. So there's a blind in there, if you just see there, like it's mounted to the wall. So it looks nicer in the front. You don't see any gap on the top, or you don't see the plate on the top. But if you do ceiling mount, you're going to see that plate like all the time. That's the difference. You're going to mount like this way or this way. It depends on the site situation you have. But mounting is really easy because it's a spring-loaded bracket. So one end goes in there, the spring goes in there first, and you just push it in, it locks in place. It's pretty solid. And the size, it goes every, so up to 60 inches, we give you two brackets. 60 to 96, it's three brackets, then it adds up. Like 4 brackets. The only thing is you have to be careful like where it's lined up. If it's not lined up, you're going to have a hard time getting in and getting out. It's going to be hard if these brackets are not lined up. So the spring we use on this system specifically looks like this. Reason is the tension, it doesn't hold until it's like, so putting tension on and like it releases it, like there's no holding. That's why we have to put that on. So just to add a tension and remove tension, you don't have to take the system apart. You have the hole on the sides, on the caps through. You can get the Allen key through to the spring and you rotate it like anti-clockwise or clockwise, just to add a tension or remove tension. Yes?
It doesn't say on the instructions which is plus or minus.
The clockwise, anti-clockwise?
Yeah.
I'll probably update it, add it in. Yeah, no, fair enough. No, so
trial and error.
yeah.
Take it up and down was inside mountain.
Well, we'll mention it. The only difference is the reverse roll. We'll mention both. Yeah. Oh, that was your question?
No.
Okay.
We're talking about the
So the only one thing in this system I want to mention is if you want to change the upper limit, it is going to be a little bit hard to do it on site, but if you mentioned to us earlier, we can set it up for you here. It is doable on site, but you have to take the bracket out. You have to remove the reducer on the other side, then move the limits. Like this is a limit setting technically. So usually it'll be in the end. That goes all the way up and it stops. But if you want to move the heights, then you have to like, depends on like, I can tell you that like it's rough measurement. It's not accurate, but it's say 10 inches something, you roll a couple times, like something like that. I can come up with like the number. But if you do it here, we'll set the limit and we'll wrap it around and give you. Then when you mount it, you're ready to go already. So that's like mainly people when like household people are a little bit shorter and they don't want a blind to go all the way up, they leave it down. So like it's better to know when we are check measuring it than when we're going for installation. That's that one. So the next one I have is fascia. Fascia is more likely as same as the open roll. The difference, couple of differences I'm going to mention is the brackets. you're gonna have two different brackets until quantity lasts kind of thing. Then it'll be universal, so it'll have the same style on both sides. You don't have to worry about where you're mounting which. But right now, we still have some of the old stock still, so you might be getting the two different profiles. That means the clutch, motor, zero gravity, whatever you're putting, that side, this has to be there, and the end plug has to be this. If you switch it, then you have to uninstall and change them again. That's all. You have to notice it. Looks like a couple of bad issues with that. But so the 3-inch and 4-inch. The other thing people usually ask me, like, and say it's not 3 and 4. It's like 3 1/4, 4 and 3/8, so close to that. It's a little bit bigger than 3 and 4. What we say. But the older profile we used to have 3 and 4. It's exactly 3 and 4. So we just kept the name same. But it is a little bit bigger than 4, and this is a little bit bigger. The other notice is one of the jobs like where the fabric was rubbing was a complaint, and I noticed that one of the bracket was a little bit defective and it was bent inwards, and the fabric was rubbing in there. So just like if you see something like that, like maybe like bend it back. I haven't had much complaints, but 1 or 2 I've had before, like where the roll up was not enough. Usually we check the roll up and we make sure like it's doable in this 3, or you have to go to 4. But sometimes when the bracket is defective or something, because we don't open every single bracket and check, but there might be a little bit bend in there, like or something like that, then that's going to cause you a rubbing issue or like that issue. So chain guard. So the chain guard looks like this. The 3 and 4 is a little bit different. You can see the little bit extended prong and a little bit longer ear. That's all the difference is. It won't work the other way because it doesn't snap and keep in place, so you have to use the proper one. The difference is like when you notice this, like what usually people think, they put a front chain ear and back chain ear. It logically looks like that, but it doesn't. The reason is we made it universal, so we want to use this side and this side. That's why we made it as symmetrical. But how it goes is like the chain has to be in the middle. The front of the chain has to be in the middle, and the back has to be like this, in order to get the fascia snapped in. Otherwise, you won't be able to get the fascia snapped. For example, like, so this is how it's supposed to be. So you have a room to snap it here. Oh, you can see, sorry. I'll pass them around, there's in the wall too. But if I get the chain instead of being in the middle, if I put the chain here, where the fascia snaps, it's going to be on the way. So it's blocking your entire way where this drops. But if it's the other way around, then still the front of the chain has to be in the middle and the back has to be in the back. That's the easy way to remember. So the one other thing on the fascia, the main thing I want to mention is the end caps. So the end caps are like plastic and a little bit thick. So when we add 2 end caps, it's like 3/16 of the size. We deduct, if you ask for end caps, we deduct 3/16 on the fascia. Sometimes, like say, you don't need the fake end caps later on, you don't put it on, then fascia will be short. We are coming up with a newer, when I show the prototype, I'm going to show you, we are coming with a sheet metal. It's a 1/16, so you don't have to leave any gaps. You can shove it in like with almost no gap in there. You can still shove it in. You don't have to leave extra gap. So we don't deduct extra for the fascia anymore, but that's future. So right now we still deduct 3/16 on the caps. If it's a finished size, if it's tight size, we take 5/16. So it's a little bit big. If you don't put it, you will notice it. Same when you're doing a lateral mount. If you know you're going to do a lateral mount, don't give it as a tight size. Give it as a finished size, because when you give us a tight size, we take an 1/8 minus. And when you're doing laterally, you're making it a little bit bigger actually than what it's supposed to be. So it's better to give us a finished size rather than tight size if it's lateral mounted, and you can't put the caps on if it's lateral mounted unless you can pre-drill it and go through it. But if you do this before, then fascia getting in is going to be hard because of the lip in the front. Yes?
Question. I'm doing an inside mount,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And for fascia,
Yeah.
we don't always have the room to insert
Right.
end caps in the fascia
Right.
before you snap it in.
Right. So this is correct. So if you're doing inside mount and you want the cap like fully in, when we're mounting the bracket, we have to leave like a 16th or 8th on each side. If you don't, then it's going to be hard to get it in. Even a 16th will do because the bracket has some leeway, even it's screwed in. You still have a like room to get it in. And to get the fascia in, the caps in, we recommend to do this, like put it on the fascia first, then you slide it through together, like then it's easier. Otherwise you won't be able to like do this after. One other thing I want to mention quickly for that is, these fascias are plastic caps, right? So say you don't want to put the caps on, you're mounting laterally and those stuff. What I did, like these two, I did like with the X-Acto knife, just line it up and score it, then you fold it. Only the portion which is protruding outside, you can just put this on. It doesn't have to be like anything more than this, you can still do. Anything less than this, you cannot do it, because this is the clip where it's holding on the fascia. But you can cut it out till there, like with the X-Acto knife, if you have to. So like I showed like a couple of them, I trimmed it down. You will see like a little bit of rough edge on this side, but it's going to go inside. It's not going to be visible.
And one other question with that, the patients. The system is designed somewhat for more or less a perfect scenario. And as you know, every scenario that we go in on is never perfect. So I have my two brackets up. It's inside, and I'm trying to get that lip over so I can snap that fascia bottom on.
It's
You know.
true.
So if the bracket's tight to the top, you need to drop it a bit, or does it just have to get in?
I'm gonna guess it's probably based on where we're mounting it. It's like, it depends on what we're mounting into. I'm gonna clear it. If you're mounting in a mullion or something, you won't have that issue, because your bracket is not gonna go like pushing it in mullion. But if you're doing a drywall or something, it does stack a little bit more. There is, I know what you're talking about, like it's really just enough gap in there, like, so if it goes a little bit more, like, so I understand what you're saying. So we'll see like what we can do. But that's exactly the room what you have there, like, so I see what you're saying, yeah.
So on a volume that's aluminum, whatever.
Right.
And you mount tight, it should be.
It should be no problem. But if you drywall or wood, then this can go a little bit more pushing it in, like then you will have less room to go in the front. I've had that issue before, like then loosen the screw a little bit, that's the only option I have. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone
So, same goes to fascia, like same bracket used in ceiling wall lateral. Only thing is lateral, you cannot do a bracket cover unless you do few changes. So usually you get a set like this. That's for the chain side and that's for the idle side. The only purpose of this is like just to snap it in. There's nothing else it does. Even if you're doing a reverse roll in our fascias, that's the other thing. We have to put the fascia in before we mount the bracket. So otherwise, like it's going to be like, unless it's outside mount, you'll be fine. But if not, so the fascia has to go on, like put it on this, then you mount the bracket. Otherwise, like you can't get this lip on top after. So that's the other thing. Like we have to like remember to do.
I get one of those, not that particular one, but something similar
Right,
to
right.
that. And it's fairly high up, and so you couldn't, even if you leave a little bit of a gap, so you can actually install the bracket first and then slide that in.
Right, right.
But if you don't see it, which is like.
If you want, there's an option like
it up, so-
on this area, like instead of a spacer, you can put like a washer or something.
Exactly.
So you
a
like,
bit of a space.
yeah, then you will have enough room to get that in.
Exactly.
Yes, yes.
So, but yes, if it's low enough.
There are a couple of jobs I've did, like it's like, we did this as a separate mount, not in the bracket. We mounted like this. It depends on where you're mounting and what's acceptable in that scenario. Like we can do that, yes. But both 3 and 4, it has to be put in before we mount it. The other thing I mentioned that is, even though it's reverse roll, there is no purpose of this guy because it's just not doing anything. It looks a little bit nicer if you put it on. Otherwise, you just see this from the bottom. So it looks finished at least when you put this on, even if it's reverse roll. So when you're getting a zero gravity or motor, you're not going to get like this set. You're going to get 2 of these. Externally, if you get this, you can still use it because the zero gravity motor doesn't need anything. It's just for snapping the fascia. So this can be still used, but usually it's 2 of these. It doesn't touch, fabric doesn't touch anything like that. You're still clear. Yeah. So, Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. So next one is Vision. I know not a lot of people do Vision, but I know Maple does. Few does. I'm going to just quickly run over this. So this is our product. Like Vision is specifically our product, right? First thing is it's optional that we can mount. It's optional that we can get it fully enclosed, or it can be like one layer or front and return and front return back. Any combination you can do, but one has to be there like all time. You cannot do it as an open roll, but any one of the scenarios has to be there. So mounting, it doesn't matter what the size of the blind is. We still use only 2 brackets. These are pretty strong brackets. We did like one in the showroom we have is 120 wide or something. We still use 2 brackets, nothing will happen. It's pretty strong. We have the same 3-inch profile and a 4-inch profile. There is an option you can put multiple brackets if you want, only if you have the top cover on. If you don't have the top cover on, you will not be able to do multiple brackets. You can do only 2 in the end. The scenarios where we do that is, say you have a mounting space like year and year, but the blind goes to till here. I don't have any mounting on the end. So we do 2 brackets here, we put the top cover, we mount it. So there's no mounting on the last bit, but there's mounting in the middle and the end, so it's all set. Depends on how much you're going out. If you're going like too much out, it's not safe, but.
So, question was
Yes.
You know, I have a pretty wide shape.
Okay.
Get up there. And, you know, you start to address something if we have the top cover.
Yeah.
Because usually, you know, when I put my 2 brackets up at the end, you know, I want to be standing in the middle where I can lift the shade up.
Right.
But a lot of times, the actual shade will flex and it ain't snapping in.
Right.
So, would you go like, for instance, if it's a shade band, say 70 inches, then you do a top cover so you could use at least a center bracket.
Absolutely, absolutely. Any size blind you can put the top cover on. Only thing is there's extra charge for the top cover, but you can do it on any size blind, no problem. Like top cover, and you can add brackets to it. How many brackets you want, you can add it, no problem.
Yeah, because it's 2 wide.
Correct. 2 people, like so. Correct. So our installers usually does up to like say 72 or 60. Okay, these are flexible brackets, so it's a little bit easier than what we have before, but it's still strong. It does the same strength. The other ones are like the 102, the V102, the 4-inch ones. We still have the older style because, right. So, and it's only for like shapes which is super wide and those stuff. But the one other good thing I just wanted to mention last quickly is the InVision system. We have adjustable end brackets. What that is, like, say if your ceiling is not level or something, you want to like, you don't have to shim it or anything. You have a number 0 screwdriver. I'm going to give you a few of those today to take it. There is a screw on the side plate where you adjust it. So you see this area here with a screw. That plate goes up and down. So it goes up to like say 1/4 inch. Doesn't matter what size your blind is. But if your roll up is smaller, you can go up to like more than 1/2 inch almost to push it up. Depends on the roll up, because after a 1/4, if your roll up is big, it's the top or the bottom. Depends on that, but you will be able to change both the sides if you have to. Like play down on this side, up on this side. Correct. Both side has it. Correct. If it's a chain, usually both side has it, but other systems you might have only one side because.
Once it's up, how do you adjust it? How do you get to that?
So there is an opening here, like exactly in the bottom, where the screw gets hold of it. Correct.
Okay.
It's depends on if you're like a big ladder, it's going to be hard to get it in, but it is doable like with a screwdriver. Correct. So on this side, so one will be opening in this side, one will be inside this hole. So it's crossways because it's universal bracket. We use it, so it's front and back.
Okay.
But it is on both sides. It's number 0. So that is that.
Or it doesn't have is it just a 0? So it's a Robinson.
Right, 0 square. Yeah. So that's our Vision product. I'll walk you quickly through the showroom on that Vision product and a couple other products because it's easier to visualize it what I'm saying. Okay, so that's Vision. So we're going to go into cassette now. So as you know, we have two size cassette now. One is a compact cassette and one is a regular cassette. Profile-wise is exactly same except the size of it. We use a smaller tube on this, the 1.25" as I mentioned. Mounting is going to be same on both. Right now the brackets are different for these profiles. So this is a smaller bracket, this is a bigger bracket. When I show you the prototype, I'm going to explain you, we are making a universal bracket for 4 of our profiles. So 2 compact cassette, regular cassette, a flat cassette, small, and flat cassette, big. All 4 will have the same mounting bracket. So like no combination or mix matching, or only change we are making is the color on the brackets. It's not going to be all multiple colors. It's going to be like one color, closer to grayish in that area. But it is not visible except this 2 small lip. You're noticing it. Other than that, you don't see the bracket once it's mounted. But it's multiple SKUs we're carrying. We're trying to reduce some SKUs in that area. But we'll see what you think. But snapping in and getting it in is easy. So always like try to get the bottom one first in and slide it through the top. That's the easiest way. But you can do it the other way too. It's a little bit harder. Depends on what you do. The main thing I want to mention in the cassette part is when we're mounting it, if you're doing ceiling mount, it's easy. You can leave a 1/4" gap on the back and mount it. Easy. If you're doing a wall mount, I would recommend to put like a spacer or like a washer or something in the back. If you have to take the blind out, if you don't put anything and it's flush, you're going to have a hard time to take it out. The reason the brackets are a little bit strong enough, but this bracket works as a spring back. So this, like you have to push it a little bit motion to the back to take it out. If you don't have any room, there is a couple of ways you can take it. You can put a flathead and pray this out a little bit, and it doesn't bend. When you do that, it just snaps out. It's not going to like turn and bend. We use this bracket for testing here, right? So I know exactly what's the lifespan of this bracket. Say you're talking about close to 500, 600 times in and out. Then it breaks off. Because we do every day with testing, like so we change every 6 months once we change the bracket out. But unless it's sometimes you will be able to like bend it back, or if you have to, like say when you pull it out, you push it too hard, like and bend it back, it's nothing going to happen. So you can just pray this out a little bit, like or bend it back a little bit. It's fine, no problem. Nothing will happen to this one when you take it out. One last thing in this cassette is the lateral mounting. We don't recommend lateral mounting this bracket. The reason is up to 60 inches, if you have to lateral mount, we can still. The reason is we still use only 2 brackets. Lateral mount is like you're putting like an L bracket on there like this, and you mount it on the side like a wall. So the reason is after 60 inches, we say we have to put 3 brackets for the strength. The 3rd bracket, you cannot lateral mount it. So that's why we don't want to do lateral mount more than 60 inches. Up to 60 we can. Main thing on this product is you have to let us know that it's lateral mounted. 2 reasons. 1, I have to give you this. 2, I have to detect based on that. My size is going to be almost 3/8 shorter than what you're going to give me because of the L brackets on both sides. Yes.
You want it tight like that if it's an inside job? Tight and
Lateral, again, like a recommended finish, but you can do tight and we accordingly change it, but finish better.
Take the 3/8 of an inch off myself, that's my question.
No, if you do that, then you won't, no. You do the full size and give me lateral and give the full size. We detect the 3/8. Correct. So, when you say tight, the reason is like we take another 1/8 off from there. That's why I said finish better. Always try to keep it as finish. So, you will hear the nice snap sound when you're getting it in. There is troubleshooting. I'll show you wrapping quickly too, but I'm just going to mention it because I have this open here. So all our wrapping is nothing, no glue, nothing involved in it. It's just a spline and a locking bead. Those 2 things we use it. And so usually you don't have to take it out on site. Say worst case scenario, the reason even in the 4-inch fascia we have wrappable, but that doesn't get like wrinkle or damage faster because you're not going to hold that much on it. But this one you have to hold it in order to put the blind in. So where we are holding it, like if there are some fabrics which is super thin, which will tend to come out a little bit when you're holding it or like doing it. So the other reason it was coming out before was our packing. You know, our packing is a bubble. We stick them. So if the sticking is sticking on the fabric a little bit, when you peel the bubble, it moves a little bit. So what we're doing is we're putting a foam paper in there now. So it's now the bubble is now going to stick on the fabric. But when you hold it, it might move a little bit. So the anything like a flat, say you have on site like a metal ruler or anything like that, just to push it, the locking bead more in, that'll do the job most of the time. Some you have to like do changes. It's only like, so like I said, like the fabric with the spline on the end. So we do, based on the thickness of fabric, we fold depending on that. And there's a channel and inserted in the bottom. Once that is inserted, like just like pull it as tight you can. And again, same flat ruler or anything. We use in-house is it's a window installation tool. It's really good tool actually. We bought it Home Depot. If you buy one of the toolboxes from us, it'll have in there. So this is like really easy. You run it through first. You don't have to run it all the way through. Just run it a little bit in, then put the rubber and run it through again. Then you're all set. It'll be tight. Even for like tightening it, so you don't have to remove it. You just run it through like a couple of times. This way and this way, then it'll move the waves out to the ends. Technically, that's what it does, if you have to. So that's cassette. Yes.
Is the 3-inch fascia ever gonna be fabric covered?
Yes, I'm going to show you the prototype. I have the sample and it's on production already. It's one of them I'm showing you today actually.
Okay, good.
I have the brackets. I have the.
I'm gonna take a picture, okay?
Yeah, no problem. I got the metal sample. We approved it. It's all already in production. We're just waiting for the shipment to come in now. Yeah. Any questions on the cassette so far? One thing just on the cassette to finish it off is on the cassette. So when you get the small cassette, you're not going to see any chain divider in. Because the clutch is small enough, it's not going to rub on the cassette. So we eliminated the chain guard in this part. But in this cassette, when you're getting a chain, you're still going to see a chain guard like this, where the chain runs in. One other thing I've noticed in a couple of times, even though we have a shipping lock and all the stuff in there, in shipping it moves a little bit, say front and back. If the clutch is not lined up to this chain guard, you're going to have a sound coming out of the chain rubbing on it. So it's usually these brackets. So you just have to like pull it back a little bit. If it is not lined up, if you're getting a weird sound from a chain or something, it's usually moved in shipping a little bit up and down. Then it's not lined up with the chain guard. That's the reason it might cause that sound. Otherwise, you should be fine, like running there.
And the brackets locked in somehow? Or?
Correct. So there's no. It'll be when you. It's going to be hard for you to like move it. So you just tap it with the. Yeah. Okay. So that's cassette. We have. On the next two is interlude and illusion. I'm not going to go into it. Say same as a cassette. The only difference is in interlude blind you cannot put a stop ball because the chain has to run more than it's supposed to run. So you can't put a stop ball in it. Illusion you can put a stop ball. It's fine. Usually the stop ball is like sometimes when they're new to the illusion, the stop ball has to go when the blind is open like that. You can see it there on the blind because then you will not be able to open it when the blind is straight down. Close to, I think it's number 8. So usually this is where the sill is. And sometimes if you accidentally put a stop ball there, you won't be able to open the blind. So you have to wait until it goes down like this. Then you put a stop ball for the lower limit. Just people just quickly updated on. Yes.
As you're on stop off with those new chain guard.
Right.
You guys tend to send those aluminum stop logs out apart. You know, we used to get those nice steel ones, and those aluminum stop logs. I mean, when you lock them on the chain,
Yeah.
I mean, even when you're so gentle and trying to get them mated so perfect, you know, when you're coming down and getting onto that curve to go the other direction, they tend to snap.
Right. So
Yeah, when they're going around. Like
Right. The one thing is that means the chain. This has to go a little bit up.
Oh,
Is it too tight? Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying. Okay.
Let me make sure. At least I make sure that it's up so there's room. It's just jamming in there. You get it?
It's only the metal, or is it like the plastic too? Like we have two stop balls. When you get a plastic chain, we have a plastic stop ball.
Well, the plastic stop balls are
Small.
Small.
Okay.
Those aluminum ones are.
Right. The reason is if I go smaller than that, what happens is it goes through the system. Then it doesn't stop. Then for me, like that's the size I have to stick to.
Well, you need to redesign that.
The bottom opening.
Yeah.
We'll keep an eye on that. Yeah. So dual shade. So that's our that I just noticed it yesterday. That's a wrong instruction. That's a Gemini instruction there. I'm going to update that. But dual shade. So we launched a dual shade recently, almost 6 months, I want to say. So this is our new dual shade bracket. The modification was before we had Gemini, which is 5" by 5", which was the size before. Now it's 4" by 6". That's our dual shade now. So the reason we made it a little bit shorter in depth but longer in the height is usually the depth is where you're having a lot of trouble to mount it. So we went a little bit narrower that way. The main advantage on this bracket is we can do a 2" tube, no problem, like Sonas 50 motor, line voltage motor. And the roll-up diameter we can achieve here is like 2 3/4. That's almost ½ bigger than Gemini and what was release available for the dual shade. So if it's a 2" tube, say I can make up to a shade like say 8 feet or 9 feet long shade with a 2" tube, which is pretty decent roll-up diameter. So the bracket looks like this, and there are a couple of configurations you can put the shade in. And the big advantage on this one is you can use as a regular fascia. I'm going to show you here quickly. So that's the mounting bracket. Like it's 4 3/8 by 6.5 almost. Sorry. So configurations. So there are like 5 different configurations we can do dual shade blinds. So if you notice it, the fascia is plain or wrappable. Both options available. This fascia, you can do it as a regular fascia if you do both the blinds as regular roll. That's the only option you can do as a regular fascia. If both the blinds are regular roll, then you'll be able to do that. But if, say, one of the blinds is reverse roll, the fascia has to go upside down. The one difference on this one is you don't have to like worry about getting this on top of the bracket. This goes inside the bracket. So we can put the bracket on first, then you will be still able to get it in.
And how do you lock it in?
So the locking, good question. I do have so there is a bracket which comes with the 2 plates in the front. That's going to lock into the ridges here, and it locks in. Yes.
Otherwise, you're gonna get crushed.
Correct. So there's before jump into that one, so when you get a say zero gravity or motor blind, both regular roll, you get the plain bracket, no attachments. If you get a zero gravity or a motor with the reverse roll, I'm going to give you this bracket because that has a place in the front where it snaps in and locks. When you get a chain blind, you have to have this chain divider. Otherwise, the top chain is going to rub on the bottom blind completely on it. So that's why we have to guide the chain through. I'll show you quickly here. And it runs smoothly, it doesn't make any sound. So it works like this. So it avoids the complete touching the bottom blind. And these are like nylon rubberized versions, so it doesn't make any sound. It dampens the sound actually. The sound I'm getting is from here. So, but this is, and you will notice.
Move around the chain, or is that flat and it could slip out?
No, when you mount this, when you mounted this,
Oh, you're still.
there's less room to come out. Like I'll pass this around. There is a groove in there. on that washer, so it'll sit. And if this is now mounted, there is some chance it'll come out, but if this is mounted, like there's no way it's coming out from there. Correct.
But it has
Right.
little grooves there now.
So you can notice that there is a letter R and L in there. That's for the chain side. The reason is based on the upper blind, the top blind, the chain side has to be changed. Worst case scenario, you will be able to remove this and change on site, but usually we give you the left side or right side based on the order. It's a right or left. And this, say if it says right, this has to go on the right side of the window, so the chain runs properly to the back. If it's left side, you will get the other bracket, so based on that. The only scenario where you're gonna have is if it's chain and it's reverse roll, you will get both these attachments to it. That's the attachment differences you have.
Change the opposite side or do the same side?
You can do it on the same side, that's why we made the divider in, but if you want the option, you can do both. One main thing nobody complains so far is the difference is when you pick a chain size, you're gonna pick 19 and 19, but you're not gonna get 19 and 19 in the window because one goes higher, one goes down. So your chains will be like this. If you want a custom size, then we have to do it as a custom, so both are on the same level. But I guess sometimes it's easier for the customer to notice which is the front and which is back, if it's a little bit this. So that's why no complaint came so far, but that's in. The end caps is same concept as the other ones. The only difference is there's not that many trees or ridges to go in. If it's outside mount, you peel and stick it, easy enough. If it's inside mount, after you mount the shade, put the fascia in. Like again, you have to leave the gap in there on the sides, otherwise you won't get this in. But if you have the gap, it guides through and there's 4 dots which matches to the bracket on the ends. And it'll go and sit exactly where the 4 holes are.
No tape.
You peel the tape off and it can set in, not set in, it's fine. It won't fall. The bracket,
So it's sticky.
the bracket cover with the 3-inch wrappable fascia, the first batch is going to come out with the sheet metal again. So it's only 1/16 thin, but that's with the tape too. I'll show you when we walk on that area. So it's better, so you don't have to worry about leaving room or anything like that. If it's a sheet metal, you can still shove it in on the sides. Unless there's a screw on the way, then you won't able to shove it. But sheet metal, you can shear it with a snipping tool or anything like that if you have to. So the configurations you can do, like I said, this is the fascia. So both are regular roll. That's why you're able to do the fascia as regular fascia. And the chain diverter is it looks like this. So for getting all 4 chains on this area, but same concept, like the chain goes in there and goes in the false here, so it doesn't block your way for the fascia if you're doing the regular roll. The dummy side looks like the flat piece. Just any questions on dual shade? Okay. Yes.
Combine operating systems, right?
Uh,
Combine operating systems?
Right. So the only thing you cannot do is Neo, because it has to be logged in kind of thing. But you can do zero gravity, motor, easy pump. That's a new thing I'm going to show you. We launched like a week ago. Motors, anything. So the motor, so we have 2 plates on the ends like these. These are for the big motors, Sunes 40, Sunes 50 actually, not Sunes 40. We still use this on Sunes 40, just the diameter is smaller. There is a locking pin, like you can see, it's only for the cassettes, again. This set screw, like it'll be locked through it to hold on the shipping, but otherwise you won't have the set screw, it'll be like just the plates on the ends. That's the, here. Gemini, like we are almost discontinued. Whatever this quantity left, the stock left is that's what we're gonna sell. So Gemini. Next one is Aria. Oh, sorry. Any questions?
Not questions in the past.
So Aria is it's a one of a kind product, like, and only one doable thing in there. It's a Neo blind. It's a 1-inch tube in it, so it's a really small tube. So you won't be able to do like super big blinds, like say up to like roughly 60-inch wide blinds you will be able to do. But the starting will be like 24. So 24 to 60. Typically where people mostly use this is the doors. The reason is you don't have a chain hanging, and you have a small profile, so you can still open the door. That's the main thing they use it on. It's easy to mount and install. There's no covers, no nothing extra. Like it's only three pieces involved in it. So it acts as a bracket cover and a bracket. Both works the same thing. It's only ceiling or wall mounted. And there's only one way it goes. Always the spring side on the left and the sliding side on the right. I'll show you how it's done quickly. So the reason we are able to do it as open roll is these Neo springs are tensioned and locked in place. So it doesn't lose tension. Even you pull it out and put it in, tension is still on right now. So that's the good thing on this system. We're not able to do it in this system because the tension cannot be held in place. That's why the difference is. So this, you're gonna get the ready, this will be on the blind already. The spring will be always on the left side, and this will be on the right side where the reducer is. You can notice there's a color here. We have a few different colors. That means the strength on the blinds. Based on the strength, we put the spring on. So it's like we have blue, black, red, a couple other colors we don't use it, like yellow, gray, and white. But we have only a couple which does all the blinds. So based on the blind, wide, and weight, we use the spring. Like you don't have to worry about the color, but just mentioning it to you.
That's pretty much that controls the tension.
Correct. So, and the upper limit adjustment on this one is super easy. You uninstall the blind, unravel it where you want the upper limit, and install back. That's your upper limit. So wherever you're unraveling the tube and the fabric coming out, say like 10 inches down, you roll 10 inches down, install it. That's your upper limit now. So you don't have to like do anything extra, like I said. And how it's installed is so this bracket like goes in first. This side goes in first, so one side goes in first. The other side, it's like it slides in from the bottom. So it'll be like, and you will hear a click sound, like that's locked in. If you have to remove it, there's a small tab in there. You push that and pull it down, then it comes out. And then you unravel it and put it back in. It's easy enough. Like
What are the end cap brackets made of? Neoprene or I guess?
I have to look at the composition. It is pretty solid bracket though. It's not like going to break. I don't know what the composition is, but where's the bracket? Sorry, I can't see it.
What would you say that I'm installing on a door?
Yeah.
It's a wood frame.
Yes.
What would you say the torque setting should be? Driving the screw, because I don't want to drive a screw on her.
True. I haven't had that question before. Like, that's out of syllabus.
It's pretty.
It is pretty solid. I'm trying to find the other bracket. Did I leave it somewhere?
The manual tapping screw, and you drive it as you're driving, and I didn't have the issue. I mean, off the door, but I don't think it's there.
Oh. I was like, where is it? I know I left it here, like, you can see it, like, actually. Like,
It's pretty thick too. I've used it.
usually it says,
Because sometimes they do have.
well, most of the doors you're using self-tapping screws now, if I'm not wrong. Like, wooden doors are, like, almost gone now because there's no wooden doors.
Yeah, it feels pretty good.
Yeah, it's not going to, like, break or anything like that faster, so. And the fascia, it's like, it's not like super strong or anything. That's why I said like it's not for wide shades. It's super thin and it's like it'll snap in nicely actually. It's pretty thin and it's one side only profile kind of thing.
So what's the limit on the width?
Say ballpark, I'm going to say like 60 max. That'll be the based on fabric. If I'm using like a heavy fabric, 60 is probably hard, 45, 48.
Okay.
Like, but it is, if it allows you picking online, it's doable. Like we have the math involved in it. But like say like a decent size, like Satin Privacy or something like that, I will be, or Lima or Peru, I will be able to do like say 55, 60, that max. Depends on the length too. Not too long, like obviously. So that's Aria Neo blind. So the other question I usually come up with is when you're mounting in the door, we always recommend to put the AccuBar in it. The reason is AccuBar, we can put a hole on the side and put the bottom hole down so it doesn't dangle every time you open the door and close it. So I don't have a piece here. It's like a triangle plastic piece you put on the bottom of the door where the bottom bar sits. The only thing is when you have to operate the blind, you have to remove it from there. But anyway, you're going to go to the bottom bar because it's neo, right? So you pull it out and use it so it doesn't dangle every time you open the door, close it. I'll show you quickly the triangle piece. Yeah. It's only doable in AccuBar. Reason is the AccuBar cap is wide enough for me to make a hole and sits in the lock. But if I do a slim bar or something, I don't have enough room for put a hole and lock it in place. That's why we say AccuBar only. It's not compulsory, but it's a really good feature, like to have it locked in place. It doesn't move. So, any questions on Aria? Anything like that? Okay.
So we use that same is, the skateboard. Yeah, we're in a power.
So the next topic is like Atlas Nimbus. So skylight and bottom up shades. So couple of things to start with before going to the airs. Like we use vision blind on the bottom. So we don't do cassette or fascia or anything like that. It's always a vision blind in the bottom where you can see the box. This box is a vision box. We can do a 3-inch or 4-inch based on the motor or size, anything like that. It's always motorized. We don't do manual. Even in motorized, it's not rechargeable. It's only low voltage or line voltage. Two main reasons because of that is like, one, the tension on the spring is going to be constantly pulling the blind. So the motor will deplete like really fast if I put a battery. Two, in skylights, they don't, like everyone recommended, don't put the batteries on skylight because it's an hottest area in the house and anything might happen. The battery might blow or leak or anything will happen, so we don't want to put the batteries in skylights. So that's why it's only low voltage or line voltage because you don't have to rely on power or anything like that, it's constantly there. So vision, when they put in the bottom on the sill or on the floor, based on where you're mounting into, people want to put the back, and it's recommended to put the back so kids don't put the toys in there, put the hand in there, like, or play with it. So we want to keep it enclosed. So that's why we recommend to put the enclosed system on the floor, and the fabric comes out of here, right? So two things, bottom bar. So we have two bars for Atlas and Nimbus, I'm going to say general, but usually in skylights, we used to use this bar. The reason is two things. One, the carrier where it locks in and travels through the guide. So that's why we have to use this bar. In bottom up, we don't have to use this bar. We can go with a slim bar. That's good enough. But if it's wide, like a really wide shade, we recommend to go to this bar. The reason is when we pull the tension on both ends of this bar, it bows. It's not like strong bar. Like up to like say 80-inch or something, you're fine. But if you go more than that, you're pulling two ends, it's going to bow. But this bar doesn't bow. This is a pretty solid 1x1 bar. It doesn't flex at all. Like even I go 120 wide or 140 wide, nothing happens. Usually when you go 120, 140, those cases, we go more than 2 springs. We go 3 or max we did it was 4 so far, but depends on the size, what do you want to make. So now I'll go into the instructions like quickly. So installation wise, you're going to mount the shade first to the floor or on this ceiling, wherever the skylight or Nimbus based on that. You put the shade first and leave the blind like say a couple of inches hanging out like this. Leave it like that first. So this installation is regular, simple, click and install. The next thing you're going to install is the, this is your box actually. So this is like a spring box, that's how it looks like. It comes in 4 colors, white, anodized, linen, and black, I want to say. It comes in 4 colors, so it matches the Vision cassette. The only thing it doesn't match colors is the end caps. It's only white and black, but it is not that much noticeable. Like it's only like a slim line on both ends. So we have white cap and black cap. So if you're putting anodized, we put white. If you're putting a brown or black, we give it black. How do you install this? So you're gonna have like 2 holes in them where Allen key, but we give you a lock for it. But if you don't have a lock, you can use an Allen key for it. This is a bigger one. I need a smaller one. But so Allen key locks in place. So I'll show you quickly inside so you will easier understanding. So this has 1 spring. but you're gonna have 2 springs on both the ends of the box. You can see how like it's nice tension in there. We have 3 different springs we use based on the size and the motor strength, whether the motor is going to be able to against it or not. So what you're doing is like, when you put the lock on that hole, it locks the wheel which is turning here. It locks that wheel, so you don't want to have any tension on it. So when you get the box, you will have a lock already in there. If you have to move it, I would say pull the lock and move it and put the lock back in. When this is it, this is how you're going to mount it. So you're going to have holes every 4 feet once. We're going to drill a hole here for you. You screw it to the ceiling. If you're ceiling mount, if you're wall mounting it, you're going to mount it like this. And we have a cap for any, like small hole, big hole, we have caps on them. So you don't have to worry about like the hole showing off. But you're going to put a screw through. If it's a wall mounted, you're going to go through screw through. That's why you have a small hole on this side, big hole on this side. So the screw still holds in place inside, bit goes through this side. Once you put the box up or wall, this will be hanging like this, right? Because both the locks are going to be in place and this is going to be free loosing. It's not going to be tight tensioned. You don't remove the lock until you're connected to the shade. You wait until you connect to the shade. So put the cap back on. Once you've mounted screws or like wherever you're mounting, you put the cap back on. This will be hanging freely in the bottom. Like it won't have tension because it's locked. Now you have a shade bottom bar hanging and you have the car hanging. Now you can use the shade to roll up, motorize, move the limits, or you can pull this down, whichever works. I recommend to go for the motor because you don't want to pull this from like one end to the other end, like, and if you leave it, it'll break the spring. The springs are like same as the sheet metal springs. You can see this the spring here, like that's a spring. So it's a sheet metal which runs like front and back. So when you release it without control, it'll go unwind it. That's what happens. No one will hurt, but the spring will break. That's it.
Well, what I do sometimes, I'll pull up the cord.
Yeah. And lock it, yes.
Then you have a cord, you do it easily on the bottom.
You can do that too.
And then you pull out the pins.
Yeah, that works too. So, but you have to like stay near there, pull it,
Yeah,
put the lock,
when you
pull it, put the lock. Yeah, you can do that too. No, nothing wrong in it. So, how this is connected to the bottom bar, right? So once we mount these two, so that's what I'm going to show you here. So you're going to have the bottom motorized shade installed first. Then you're going to have this spring box where you're opening the cap and leaving hanging. Then you put the screws through. Then you have the cord hanging down now like this. So in this photo, you can see there's 2 things. One is a rivet and there's a nylon washer. There's 2 things in there. You can see it here, like the nylon washer is moving and the rivet is in this end. So the slim bar and both the bars, you have a profile on the bottom. It's almost like a T shape in this here. So this side the fabric goes on the bottom bar, and this slot where the rivet slides in. Here, and same with this one. This one, only thing is you have to remove the cap before you slide the rivet in, but then you'll be able to get the rivet in here. So once you get the rivet in, you don't have to line up right away, but like try to keep center the cord as straight as possible from the box. If it's angled, nothing will happen, but longer run it's not recommended because we put a grommet in there, so it doesn't damage your car like even you do this, but longer run it's not recommended. Like, so once you finish install setting limits, make sure the cords are like straight, coming out center of the grommet. That's all it is. This nylon washer, once you finish everything, you can cut this nylon washer. There's no use for that. This only for shipping purpose, so the rivet doesn't go inside the box. That's why we put the nylon washer in there. There's no other reason for that. So that's the Atlas. The only difference is on the Nimbus, you're gonna have this bar and there's a carrier running here, and that carrier has to go in here, like, and slide it in. This will be mounted. Depends on ceiling or wall. So if you're ceiling, you mount this directly. There's a hole every 3 or 4 feet. You have a hole, so you just put a screw through. If you're doing a wall, you will get this L attachment. So you put it on the wall, like on the side, then you run the track. Those are the differences you're gonna get. Any questions on this?
What's the primary application of the Nimbus?
So Nimbus is for the skylights. Just the skylights. Atlas is the bottom up, so you can do. So 2 things is like it's not cheap product. It's pretty expensive. But mainly what it is used for is when you want the sunlight to come in still and you want privacy. So mainly it's like bathroom where the bathtub is and you have a window and you want the sun to come in. they put the blind to go this way halfway, so you get the sun still, but nobody can see in. That's the main places we did so far, the bottom up. But you can do it in living room, any room you want. You can still do that, like put the blind from bottom scenario. If you do a slim bar, like on the bottom up, you will be able to do channels, like the side channels to cover the light, and the card will be hidden on the channel. This bar goes inside the channel, right? So, and the card, we're running the top bottom, the card that's going to be like a little bit hidden inside the channel, so you don't see it. Only when you get the channel option in. But this bar, we cannot do a channel because quite big bar, and ran with the tracks. Next, before I go into the other products, I'll talk about the channel quickly. So they're like, this is our typical old channel we used to have like for years and years. We are trying to phase out this and move to a newer channel. So this is not going to be the new channel, but this is available right now to buy it. But our channel is going to be looking more like this. The two differences is like our channel, when you mention as face mount or lateral mount, we make the holes for you before, so you can just go to the school. Same, bigger hole inside. So there is a profile here. So the big hole is here and the small hole is here. So you can get through the screw through and screw it in. And it'll be every 4 feet again, each screw. There is a brush on both ends, a little bit thinner brush. The new one I'm going to show you is going to be a way bigger brush, so it has nice blockage on the light. If it's a face mount, we're going to make a hole here and we'll give you a cap to put it on after. This is older profile. The newer one, the lateral mount is still same thing. We make a hole through, you screw it in. But if it's a face mount, we don't have to make any hole prior, and so we have like a channel opening here. So you fire screw through, then you put this back on, like cover it, like so it looks nicer. So, and there is a groove in there for you to center the screw in. You don't have to figure, but that's for the face mount. So it's like, and the big difference is like this is 2 and 1/8, 2 and 1/16, 2 inches. That is 2 1/2. So it's a ½ inch reduced. The one we are working on, we're trying to go a little bit lower than this. We're trying to. We'll see what we come up with. Because without this channel, like the strength is not there. So it's going to go like this way. That's why we have to work with few limitations. But the brush, you can notice it, like it's a pretty big brush. So it blocks a lot of light in there. The seeps through. And there is a plastic end in there which lets the fabric through in. So it doesn't touch any metal part where the fabric rubs in. So it's something like, because sometimes you have to move back or move front, depends on where you're running a chain or where you're placing it in, you might have to do this. When you do that, like fabric might rub on the channel. So now you have a plastic casing on there, so it doesn't rub on the metal, it rubs on the plastic. The fabric doesn't get damaged. That's the other thing. Usually when they do this as a side channel, on the bottom, you don't have to do the same channel, it looks bigger and you don't have to do that. We have a L channel. So this goes in the bottom, like this. So technically it's open in the back. There's nothing in the bottom. So you can do this, or you can do this. Usually we recommend to do this, so it's nicer cover. But you can do this too if you want. But it's just like more material, more money, like all those stuff. So you just need this for the bottom. That's all luck, so it goes in. So a couple of things in there, since Mike is here, I'm going to mention that quickly. Before we had the issue on our online, we're letting the cassette to pick their channels, side channels in. We don't do channels with the cassettes. The reason is a couple of things. There's no bottom or return, so you're not going to get a nice light covering in there. There's going to be a lot of complication there. That's why we recommend only on a vision system or a fascia, all these, you can do this, no problem, which will have a nicer, cleaner finish to it and nicer blockage in it. So even dual shade, we can do it. Dual shade, usually we recommend to do only on the back one, not in the front and back. You don't want too many things in the way, right? So if you don't, say the blind's already up and installed and they want to cover something now, we want to do something, instead of doing a channel, we can do an L channel. The reason is, if I have to do this, I have to bring the blind back, do a cut down, because the direction is different. Everything is different. I have to do everything. But if I have to do this, any existing blind, I can just go in and put this on. I have white, anodized, and black, all 3 colors. AccuBar and Plynam is what we like, and we're going to keep it. We have so many bars right now. Like I said, we have like these are all extra bars we have. So Deluxe Flat, like a square profile, Slim Bar. This is our old AccuBar. You can see the differences now, like when you started buying, few things. One cap is like slimmer, so it doesn't cover like too much on the front, like the bigger cap portion. Two, it's a little bit sleeker than this one, but it's a little bit longer than the older one, but the weight is more on this one. The reason is when you have a little bit more weight on the bottom bar, your fabric stays nice, taut, and the zero gravity and all the other system which works, it's easy for balancing and those stuff. That's the main reason we like the heavier bar, so it keeps like fabric taut in the bottom. Any questions?
I have a Health
Yeah.
Canada question.
Okay.
In all the training we were forced to go through with a number of different suppliers, one thing was you could no longer have small parts. So in theory, all those end caps are not really legal, are they?
So
I could give a shit.
no.
No.
So the reason is we know that it's maybe coming soon and those stuff. So what we did is you can see a small hole in there.
Yeah.
It's not a hole actually. It's like it's a little bit hard to take it out. This one I did 20 times or 40 times. It's out now, easy. But you can see there's a small. The plastic is less in that area where you can fire a screw through.
Okay, so it's not a
So it's ready. I can use a screw today, but when they give trouble, we'll just put a screw in there. That's all.
Your way.
But we have it ready, like on the bar. Like we planned it for that, and there's a notch where the screw holds it, so it'll be not removable
Okay.
when we get the screw in.
You'll be so pleased.
But I know that might be coming soon. That's why like we prepared that ahead of time, so we are ready to go in there.
It's probably a force you have to exert on.
Correct. So this one, like I said, if I give you a new one, like you will see, it's pretty hard to take it out. This one I played a few times, but the new one is pretty like we have to like tap it with a hammer to get it in. It's not like easy in and out. So it's not going to have like falling issue or anything like that. You're not going to see it anymore. There was like before, like this one comes out a little bit easy, like, but this one's no problem coming in and out. So, well, only a couple more, few quick topics. So, when we do open roll, right? There's three valances we can put it on open roll before or after we can cover it with it without changing the blind or touching the blind, right? So the first one is pockets. When you have a pocket, like say. Usually pockets are like pre-construction and that stage of time, not after the fact. When they have a pocket in the ceiling, like on the corner, we have a hanging closure which covers the pocket and only the fabric comes out of it. So you still do the same, like what do you do like all these, like open roll blind and also all the stuff. The only difference is like you're covering the pocket. There's three pieces involved in the pocket closures. So when we get questions like what the pocket size is supposed to be, right? Usually we say a single blind 5" by 5". That's the pocket size. If you make that, I can make pretty big blind in there, no problem. Like 2.5, 3" tube, I can make a blind in there. It's a safer side. So 5 by 5 is the standard size we recommend to do when they're doing a pocket. And the cover we have, it's exactly like covers that, and it's only 1" or 1 1/4 gap opening where the fabric comes out of it. So if you say made the pocket like say 4" or something, no problem. What we do is like we trim it in this area where you see the section, like a C section. We trim it here and we put the brush in that area. So this reduces it, and the cut we make, it's not going to rub the fabric. It's going to be the brush rubbing the fabric. So you can notice in this picture. So this is the full profile, which is at 3 3/4 inches. So this profile is 3 3/4 inches. If I trim it and put a brush in that area, it's going to be 2 5/8 now. So 4" pocket, we put 2 5/8. So the room for the fabric to come out. Now, how do we mount this? This part is optional. It's a cover. It's not compulsory. But this is a mounting bracket kind of thing. And this piece, like it sits on the weight, like downwards like this. And this, it's every 3 or 4 feet, we put one plate to mount it. Like it's going to be. The reason is we recommend you to buy this is 2 reasons. One, the edge on the drywall or the wood where they leave it. So this is where it's mounted, right? So this is a pocket made with drywall, wood, whatever you mounted. So this edge is not going to be clean like this. It's hardly being cleaned. The drywall, they cut it and leave it like as drywall, cut drywall or wood piece, whatever that is. What this covers that area nicely. So the edge they left it, I'm going to put it in the corner, so you will cover their rough. Two, it's really good for installers. Reason is you don't have to worry about lining up this stupid thing like in the span of like that big. So we slide this guy in first before we mount it, like say 4 or 5 of them. You line it up. Now you go to the edge and you just put it in the corner, fire screw, done. Now it's ready to like just you get this guy in like hanging.
I'm trying to line them up.
So now like these two lines up nicely, so you have a nice finish in there. So that's the hang enclosure. 2 things to notice in the hang enclosure. Chain. Try not doing chain. If you can do chain, the only thing is, say your pocket is like that wide, you're gonna have this much opening there. You can't get the chain out of this, so you have to leave this much room opening so where the chain comes out. So you have to like trim this on side like based on where you're mounting, how much you want it. If you're doing a chain, if you're doing a motor, then you have to worry about it. You just go all the way in, fully flush, nice. That's why chain is not highly. The other reason is if the chain is rubbing on it, it's going to make sound. Second thing is going to try pushing it out. It's not going to be easy to come out because you're going to have multiple brackets in them. It's not going to pull all at the same time, but you have like potential of taking it out because the chain is pulling upwards, right? That's the reason we don't recommend putting a chain in there. So that's the hang enclosure. It shows what are the ways you can put it on and those stuff. So second one is the fabric valance. So say your open roll is up already and they want to cover that roll, the roll in there, you want to put the fabric valance. Easiest is if you have a ceiling mount, you put this plastic L angle, you put a screw through, you stick the fabric, it's going to look like this. So our standard height is 6 inches on the fabric valance, which will cover like even the decent sized roll, it'll cover it, no problem. If you are putting a doer shed or something as an open roll, we can make it as 8 inches. So the 6 and 8 is our standard, but we can customize to any size you want. Mention in the order, say fabric valance, I want 3.5 inches. We'll make the fabric valance 3.5 inches. So let us know what size you want the fabric valance. If you didn't mention it, it'll be 6 inches. And usually the fabric valance is with a Plinam, so you don't put another bar like a big bar in there, like in the middle of the blind. So usually it'll be like a Plinam where the fabric rolled in, like it looks like that. So it doesn't look like that bad in the middle. But you can do any bar you want to. If you want to match with the blind, whatever you want to, we can still do it. This is for ceiling mount. It's, you just go put it in, like you leave the blind and you just put it in the front of the blind and you just stick it, done. If you have a wall mount, there's like a clip. So this clip goes in the wall behind the roller, like where the roller is, like behind the roller. Then you like clip in this guy. This is like a Velcro track. It's like and you just put the fabric in there, so the roll will be in the middle. We do have like different size L brackets, up to 6 inches. So it starts from 3, 4, 5, 6 inches, like different L brackets.
What about returns?
So we do have return too. We didn't show in the instruction. It's not a great product with the return. The reason mainly we're having a drawback in this is when the fabric is bent and returned, it's not going to stay flat as a fascia or something. It's going to have some flare. So it's not going to be like straight like this. It's going to be like this a little bit. There is so you can put a Velcro angle on this side on top and just stick it in. We can do some ways, but it's not great. And the standard is 3.5 inches. Again, the return, if you don't mention it, say return and I want it, it'll be 3.5 inches. That should usually cover the roll and the thing in it. But sometimes you're protruding far and you're using a 6-inch bracket. I need like a longer return. We can do it, no problem. It's just not great looking item. So the last thing I have in there is for open roll to cover it is the PVC valance. So it's similar to a fabric valance, except this is a one piece and the fabric will be inserted here. You will see like a clear plastic, but underneath it you will see a fabric, so still. But this is mounted just to the ceiling, done, the blind will be still here, no problem. If you have a wall mount, same concept goes here, like, and this will be like mounted to the back, and the roll will be here. This return is a little bit better than the fabric bound return because we have a piece on the corner bracket and it slides into this properly. So it'll be a little bit rigid, like it's not going to be like flaring out or anything like that. So it goes like this. So you will have fabric here, fabric here, fabric here. Like that'll look like a case. And this standard is again 3.5 or 5. I want to double check, but one is the standard. If you want to mention some specific size, we can make it again. It'll be the same fabric what you use in the blind. So that's the PVC return. So that's the 3 options. You can add it later or add it on the blind with the open roll for reducing the cost and those stuff. That's what mainly it's used for. Otherwise, you're going to go to the fascia directly. Any questions? So, Roman, I'm just going to mention the Roman mounting unless you have questions. So it's same as your, we have 2 profiles. One is for manual and one is for motorized. We can do up to low voltage motors and those stuff. Line voltage is not doable yet in here because the space is not enough and the tube is not enough. So by battery motor, low voltage motor, all those motor can go inside here with a tube. And this is for manual motor. We do Roman tracks only if you guys want to work on a workshop with the fabric and those stuff. We do assemble everything ready to go and give you, and you just make a fabric outside and just put it on. So we do that too. So we have Roman fabrics, but when you do your own fabric in a workshop or something, we can give you fully assembled Roman without the fabric. So you go and mount it, then you put your fabric on it and connect the cards, and we will give you the cards and all those stuff. So you just have to pass it through your no-sew bar or whatever you use in the back, run it through, then lock it. We do the same for both motorized and manual, both. The mounting is same as your cassette mounting. It goes by 60 inches. We do 2, more than that you add up more. And the snapping is the same concept. So it's like same bracket. You just like sit and like it will give a snap. Same goes in here too. The manual and motorized. Yes.
Do you do the Sonas 40 in that small and big cassette or not yet?
The tube is the one I want. Like tube is there. I want to see the crown drive whether we have available or not. I'll check and let you know. Crown drive will be a problem. I'll double check and let you know. Yeah. The motor is small diameter, but the crown drive is not compatible with that tube specifically here. Because the tube is really specific. I don't have the tube here. It looks like a star almost. The reason is the coupler and those stuff where it slides through, it's made from one supplier. They want to make it unique. That's why you buy for everything from them, right? So, but I'll let you know for the crown drive whether it's available for Sonas 40 or not.
So, what's the non-motorized control for the rolling chain?
Chain. Only chain.
And so forcing you to have a 1-inch gap on the chain side?
So when we make the Roman, like the gap you're going to notice is only the size of this guy, the plastic end cap.
Okay.
That'll be the size will be open. The fabric comes till here.
Okay, that hasn't been the case though up until now. The gap's been 1 inch.
This is like 11/16 or 13/16. That'll be the gap you're going to get.
Splitting hairs now, are we?
No, that's the size of this. Same with this profile too. This is a little bit smaller. This is a little bit bigger. I want to say it's 11/16 or 13/16. It's one or the other.
That plus the clearance deduction for it to.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, it's a.
The reason is you want to get the finger through to get the chain, right? So
Yeah, I'm with
even that is like less gap they're complaining because sometimes you have to touch the fabric to get the chain still. It's not like wide open like.
No.
This is about a half an inch. You know,
Half.
or maybe 9/16. He's not at 11/16.
We have a couple of Romans. I'll show you. There's one here too. I think this one is motorized, but So this one is almost like more than like where it is because it's motorized. You don't need any gap on the sides. But the chain, we leave exactly the gap, and that matches with our safety shield too. That's the exact size of that, like same profile. It matches with all.
Any cordless options?
I have something I can show, but it's not close to ready yet. But I have something to show actually. There is something on the wall. I'll show you around. Like a zero gravity or Neo, both. There are like the reason is we have to go with different mechanism in the back to run it smoothly. So we're working on it. I'll show you, like you will see. Safety shield, I kind of covered it. Safety shield, only thing I want to mention quickly is like, so when you're having a chain, like I said, when we leave the building here, we're going to put it on. After that, whatever you do, it's not our responsibility. The main thing I want to mention quickly is like the chain length, whatever you pick, it's fine. Only thing you have to remember is like if your chain is more than half the height of your blind, you're fine to put stop balls. If you're less than half, for example, the one you have in that door where I put the chain, like that small chain, I can't put a stop ball. That's one thing. Two, when you're mounting it in a wall, like say if you have a patio door or anything like low, you don't have to go all the way down. You can shorten the chain, like I said. And you can mount this, like lifting this up and putting a screw through here. You can mount it. This will be open for them to use it, so you don't have to have two-hand function. It'll be a one-hand function. That'll be the one added extra. The reason that is like, when they introduced the law, they didn't say anything about how to remove it or how easy can it be removable. Now they're thinking about you should not be able to remove it without a tool. That's what they're coming out to. So when you put a screw through here, you have to use a tool to remove it. That's why we're coming down to like, so that's coming out. So this piece is for connecting. When you have a safety shield like longer than say 10 feet, you need a connector, so that's this connector. So I can put another safety shield inside here. That's the reason we made this. But we're using it for all the blinds now, just to put a screw through. So it helps you to hold it and it is not removable easily. Those are the two reasons you're looking at.
Basically, this shield is for residential only.
Correct. That's what I said. Commercial is still P-Clip. They're using it, no problem. It's residential is still using it. Commercial too, you have some leeways. If you're doing a commercial building as a school, you still have to have this. Like there are some gray areas. Yeah. Like the two jobs we're doing, a big job right now, it's a commercial building, we're doing P-Clips right now. It is still fine. It depends on what job you're heading into. That's why I said. So the two items here I'm going to show quickly is the, so this one is, I'll show you in the showroom, it's a little bit better. It's called the wire guide. What this is like, we did a building in University of Windsor, like a pool area. The vent like blows the air crazy to keep the humidity down and those stuff. The blind moves almost like say 3 feet front and back because of the vent pushing it like so hard. So, when it's moving and it's not going to roll properly because your movement is going to screw up your rolling now, right? So what we did is we came with something called like a wire guide. What it does, it runs on both the sides of the fabric and the bottom bar. So it looks like a better picture is like probably the thumbnail. This one here. So you can see in this picture where the wire runs through the bottom bar caps on both the sides, runs through the top of the blind. So you can attach this piece. This piece is 180 degree shovel. Not shovel, swivel. Swivel. Sorry. So that you can mount it on the balance cassette or anything, anywhere you want to mount it, you can mount it. And it's really easy to attach the card and attach the galvanized cable and tighten it. It's not like a residential looking, but you won't use that in residential anyway. It's for more commercial jobs. This one is for wall mount and this is for ceiling floor mount on the bottom. Once you add the cable in, you can use this for tightening the cable. So after a few years usage, you're gonna get the cable a little bit loose, then you can just tighten it. Easy to use it. And it keeps the bottom bar in place so it doesn't move out of that. Like that's the main reason for that. And it doesn't do left or right. Correct. Correct. So the tall windows, I have one more thing I'll show you on the back is we're coming with something called like a disc. What that is, like so when the fabric is rolled on the tube, on the ends, before we putting the clutch and those stuff, we have something like a plastic, like a CD disc, almost like that, not that big, but something like that. So what it'll do is like hit the fabric and like it'll still keep it in that disc area, so it doesn't go to the clutch or it doesn't go to the end plug and hit the bracket. It's for really narrow windows, so like we're working on it. It's like we have a 3D printed piece and to see how it works, and if it keeps in place, it's good. The one last here is the zero gravity. No, this is wrong instruction again. Okay, so this one is like it's. We made a clip on the where you can connect to the bottom bar and use a wand to push it up and pull it down. If you have a zero gravity blind and it's not reachable or something, we can put this clip on the bottom bar in the middle of a bottom bar like this, and this wand is used for like pulling and pushing it like for zero gravities. You can use it in the Neo too. But Neo will be a little bit harder to pull and push because it's a stronger spring technically than the zero gravity where it works smoothly. I'll show you that too. So any questions so far? Like, are we good? We'll take a 10 minutes break, 10, 15.
It's going to be a poll. One out of Canada come out with something and say, oh, you know, you could hit somebody in the head with the pole. So
No, so this wand is like it's mounted to the wall on the side, so it's not like it's not hanging in the blind. It'll be like all else.
yeah, oh, yeah, that one was good.
Like I said, like
Does that have a standard length?
so right now the wand is only 2 feet. 2 feet. When it's expanded, when it's contrast is 1 feet. Right. The reason is when we go longer, it's not strong when it's cheap, or it's super expensive when you go. Like it depends on what we work with. But right now that's included in the cost if I'm not wrong. So why? But we can buy like a metal telescopic wand. It's going to add up costs. That's what it is. Like this is like a plastic and looks like a nicer finish. I'll show you in the showroom. So after a break, I moved it out. This is a different one. After the break, I'll show you the few things I mentioned it. Then we'll come back in this room. Okay. Before I show you the multi-banding install, I want to show quickly is the bottom bar I mentioned is the clip for the bottom all down. I'll just pass it around. So it's like a dress triangle clear clip. It has a nub coming out, and this will be mounted to wherever the door or the floor. And the bottom bar like end cap sits on it. When you have to use it, you have to like pull it out and use it. Like when you have to.
Is that drilled out for this?
Correct. We drill it and we give you this piece. Correct. This one I just punch it out, but like we usually drill it nicer.
Naturally, right?
No. So it's like it's just drilled and we use it as a locking. You can use it on any blind you want, but when you have to move the blind, you have to go and physically unclick it. It won't.
Grab the bar.
Correct. Grab the bar a little bit out and it'll come out. But usually when the window's open or something, you want to keep the blind down, not moving front and back, like that's probably the option. But that's on both ends. You can leave it on one end, depends on like if it's not too much draft you have, you can leave it on one end. It's up to wherever you amount to. But usually it's used in the doors where like you keep the blind steady, so it's not like rattle. So multi-banding, like the one I showed you, like so it's one bracket in the middle. So when you get a multi-banding, for example, the side brackets are going to be the same brackets, the end brackets. So you get the motor goes in this end and end plug goes in this end. The middle is where we're joining the multi-banding parts, right? So that's where you're going to have, this is the bracket you're going to get, like say, for the multi-banding, for the 4-inch, and 3-inch we have it too. So 3-inch, all those like we have, and the open roll looks like just a simple a C clip. Like, so this is what the multi-banding bracket looks like. But we have another bracket, this we call a CentralLink support bracket. When you need this, it's like when you have a fascia as multiple piece, you don't have anywhere else to snap the fascia. So we have one end, you have this bracket, one end, you have this bracket, you snap the fascia, good. The other one, it has to snap somewhere for the other end, right? Like, so that's why you need something. That's why we came up with like something called support bracket. This one, it doesn't do anything except snapping the fascia end. So when you put it in the center like this, one fascia snaps with the white color, one fascia will snap with the black color. Like that's, we have multiple colors. I'm just showing you the color difference. So you have, if you have one fascia for overall, you just need only this. You don't need this piece. You don't have to mount it. because the fascia snaps at 3 points now, 1, 2, and the middle. Like that's all you need. Same goes for the 3-inch fascia. We have the support bracket and the center bracket, both. In the open roll, we don't have, you don't have need it. How it goes together is what I'm going to show you next. So we have, scroll it down here. So so this picture you should like it shows. We have a duo shade open roll dual shade, like just like no valance, nothing. You just put 2 blinds. We do have a centerling on that too. So like if you have dual shade, we can put like centerling brackets on dual shade too. So how this coupling works now. One end you have a motor, so the motor is the one who's going to drive the blind, right? The other end, it doesn't have to drive the blind. It just have like a spring load end plug. Instead of end plug, we have something called plunger. This is called plunger, okay? And the other side is called the adjuster. What it does, like when you have the bracket in the middle, this is going to go in and like lock in like this. So when this turns, this one turns too. And this is where you use as a spanner to adjust your limits. So you put the spanner like here, and based on the motor blind, you turn it and you adjust it. When it's locked in, you will be able to like do this, like and level the bottom bar now. So instead of taking the blind out, rotating it, or doing whatever you are doing, we just do this and like adjust it. Always the recommendation we do is like go past the, say you have a motor blind here, this is the motor blind, and you want to line up this one, we recommend to go down first, then line up to the top. Then it won't move, because there is a small like a play factor here. So if you line up from the top, you might have the play factor affecting you go a little bit up now. That's why we go past and come back up, like line up. So how this is installed now, so now we know this is going to be on the other side of the motor. So the motor, we're going to use a plate, and this is going to go mount here like as a regular, no problem. On this one, we are going to put this like a ring, like a donut, like we're going to put it on, right? And this bracket, say this is installed. This is installed in the middle now, right? So this is going to slide in this, like the head. So I'm going to pass one around, and I'm going to keep one. So what this is like, you see the 2 holes in this ring. That 2 hole has to go side or like horizontal. Thank you. So we're going to go horizontal. That's the only one way it goes in. So that if it's not lined up, it's not going to go in. Nope. Here. So, right.
So do you put this in first?
Not in the bracket.
Or you don't?
You put it on this guy.
On that, okay.
Then you slide it from the bottom and push it in. The only thing you have to be careful is the 2 rings, the holes, you have to see and push it in.
Because that is not, there's no spring to that right now, right?
No.
The plunger.
Right.
That's why you have to, okay.
Right. So you put this on, then you push it straight to the bracket in.
Right.
That's the easiest way. There's other ways you can do. You can put this on first, then you can go. I can use a flathead and get it in. But this is the easiest way you can get it in, like straighter. So if it's not straight, it won't. Like if it's straight, it goes in straight, snaps in. Once you do that, like you're gonna like turn that sideways, vertically, then the locking pin goes.
Okay.
So even if you don't even put a lock in, say you turn it like this way, there's no way that's going to come out. Like that's not going to come out. So what you do is like just to be in safer side, we put a lock, like it'll click in sound. You will see if it's not straight. There you go. If it's lined up, it clips in, and like now it's not like you can't even. This is not going to even turn now. Like that's so. This will be in. You put it in like this.
Yes.
So now it's in. Now the other side, you have this and the spring load end plug.
Right.
So this goes in like here, then the spring goes like in the other side.
It doesn't matter which way, which way do you put the bracket? Oh yeah, where the fascia goes.
So the only thing is you have to line up is the bottom where the fascia snaps in. The two rigid,
Right.
that's the bottom.
Right. Oh, I see.
So you have a wall mount, you have a ceiling mount.
Right.
I'll pass this around too, just take a look.
gap with that coupling?
I'm gonna say 1 inch, but plus or minus say like a little bit different. 1 inch is the gap you're looking at. Yeah.
No, you do go down, no, this is cycle zones, because the facial. So this,
That's yeah.
You're clicking it.
Correct. I was holding the other way.
You can't do
The
this.
open roll is like this.
I'm sorry?
Open roll.
you put it where you like.
Well, you can put it this way or you can put it this way too.
That's true.
But the fascia, like it's like that way. Correct. Sorry, say it again. Well, there's only one way you have the brackets going to go because you have wall mount and ceiling mount. So if you do that way, there's only one way. Like if you turn, it's not going to be the other way.
So, you gotta have it the extra, the whole have to be, just in the way, and then
Yes,
turn it down.
and turn it down. Now, mind you, because it's sideways, it really ain't gonna go.
The two holes, like yeah.
That's so easy to turn, either when the blind is there.
Yeah, it's like this, like just spin it.
And then you spin it, so really, it's sort of, it's.
How's the reliability of this bushing, it's all plastic?
The one in robots, University of Toronto, we put like 120 3-band. With those up, like in nothing moving. Like it's
120 units?
120. We did like 45, 60 blinds almost. Yeah, whole building, robots
Well,
building.
none of us, so I don't know how.
Yeah.
If they're gonna call me back.
It's been like almost a year and a half, 2 years almost. And
You have to go back. That's why I'm asking.
if it's not logged in, like then we might have a problem. But if it's logged in,
Talking about the actual
Wear and tear.
the wear and tear, like we didn't have complaints so far. So put it that way.
Okay, I got
But but I mean, like you're gonna have some wear and tear on the plastic, right? Like it's like, but at least like the adjuster and plunger, like they're not like a cheap plastic.
No.
They have a pretty decent thickness, so it's not gonna wear out that fast.
Well, I'm sure it's
But-
to some degree.
Right. So
Every 10-year or something usually.
the weight pound is they rated up to 20 millimeter. That's almost like say I don't know like pretty lot of force there. So that's a weight. It breaks after 20 millimeter. So it's like almost 100 more than 150 pounds. You're talking about. If you're putting his head that way, it's gonna be a problem.
The typical motor shouldn't be able to break it, right?
No,
The motor will.
absolutely not.
stop before it actually-
Right. The wear and tear is different, but breakage it won't happen for sure. Yeah. For the open roll dual shape bracket, the only thing I want to mention is like when you're doing a chain, we have a chain guard. So what it does, like it slides in here, and the chain runs like this, so it doesn't fall on top of it. That's the only thing. And we do have caps on them, like on the sides, like it goes
Is that
like.
new?
No, but we have white. It's Sunboss. When we launched Sunboss, we did this too.
You used to have that though. It's not the guy.
Nobody, a lot of people use it. Or they used to do, when they do dual shade, they want the fascia, so it's mainly that. This is only the open roll, like it's an option, like available still.
Yeah.
White and anodized only, 2 colors. No black, no nothing like other colors, but.
Yeah, no, that is what I didn't know.
For the flow bracket, so the both lines has to be in the same direction, or one of them has to be like reverse?
So this one, the front has to be reverse all the time. On our dual shade, you can do the current dual shade, this one, you can do regular roll, reverse roll, reverse regular, no problem. The only thing affects is the fascia. If it's a regular, you can put the fascia as regular. If not, you have to put the reverse. That's it. But you can do any combination on this one. On this one, the front one has to be always reverse roll. The back one can be reverse or can be regular, no problem. The front has to be reverse all the time. That's all. That's the open roll. I think we covered everything. The one thing I want to show you here quickly. So even these ones we are trying to update, like say every week. Like there's a download sheet, like the sheet is their PDF, or there's a video install video how to do like installs too. If you're starting like a fresh installers or something, they can take a look at the videos like here how to install the product. We're trying to keep updated here, and there is maintenance and troubleshooting videos. We're trying to do every alternate week or something like that. So there's a zero gravity tensioning. in a cassette and an open roll, both options, like how to add attention, remove attention, like I showed you the back there. Then the wrapping like in a 4-inch. The one we're showing here like is with a ruler actually, not with a tool. Anything flat you have, like you can like brush it in, like use it, like it'll work. Not the pizza wheel. We try with the pizza wheel and cuts the fabric out actually. The pizza wheel used to cut pizzas, like we try that and it cuts through the fabric actually. It doesn't work. But
Trolley blinds.
the ones you buy, there is 2 sizes on these ones. If you buy the smaller one, it doesn't go in our cassettes to wrap it. The rivet blocks it in your way to go in. So there's a bigger wheel you have to buy, not the smaller wheel if you're buying the window installation toolkit. If you go to window screen session in Home Depot and those stuff, you know the rubbers they install for the installation,
Yes.
they use this tool. That's a tool we use it here for rolling. But there's 2 sizes of diameter. There's a smaller diameter and a bigger diameter. If you buy the smaller, it doesn't go inside our cassette gap, so it doesn't do anything. You have to buy the bigger wheel if you have to. The wheel.
The bigger version.
The reason is, if you notice it, like the size here, if I put the big wheel, it goes in. If I put the small, it stops here me.
Yeah.
Because of the rivet in the middle.
Oh, you mean the depth?
Diameter,
scale.
correct.
Diameter.
So that's just to know, if you buy a small one, it's not going to work. Like I said, like the videos, we try to do one by one at a time and add it to our resources. If you're having trouble like working out something like that, like we have videos, or call us. Any questions or anything else like you have? I think I covered everything.
Voodoo?
Yes.
We order something with side channels now, which side channels are we gonna get then? The old style?
Unless you mention new one, it's just going to be old style. So,
Oh.
It is.
I guess that's the question, is it
What is it?
So- so this is our old side channel.
Oh, but that's still coming, it's not really, is it?
This is available right now from ZMC,
Oh,
but we are working on our one, which is similar to this one.
yes.
But this is available right now to buy.
How wide is that one?
2118. We are trying to go lower than that.
2-ish.
2-ish. 2. We're trying to do 2. But the reason I said is the cross section here, you need the cross section, otherwise the integrity of the thing goes off. That's why we're trying to do as low as here, but we have to put the screw through, so we have to make enough room for the screw. Then you have to go the rest of them for the fabric to go in. So you're looking at 2. Like if I go lower than 2, there are a couple we tried like this. It doesn't do enough justification on the side channel part of it. So the brush, the ZMC one like at the beginning is a bigger brush, so it blocks a lot nicer reflection coming through the sides of the fabric.
And show them the removable strip, because that's the handiest thing for installing with the.
No, it's 2-part, it's a 2-part element.
Right, I showed actually. Yeah. So for the lateral mount, we still do the big old, small old thing, but the face mount we do so it's just like you put a screw through, then you put the cover on, like later, done, snap. And there's a groove in the middle which lines up your screws in the center exactly. Then it locks. And the other advantage I showed you is the fabric. There is a plastic piece that goes in the end. So if you have to move the side channel front and back, like the fabric rubbing on the plastic, not on the metal now.
Yeah.
So it's like a filter, almost like a funnel. Like
All I gotta do is say new side channels, because I'd like to switch out some side channels on a job with the old side channels.
okay. The couple of things. The other thing I mentioned is the older side channel we do only slim bar and plain amp. The newer one we're doing the AccuBar with the oh, it passed out I think. With the old down bracket.
Pockets.
Yeah.
No, never mind. No. So we're doing what is this is the portion is going to go in the side channel, and the fabric will be lined up to this end, and this is the portion is going to go in like that. So it's still with AccuBar, and it works. The new one, maybe we might be able to get the AccuBar in. I'm not sure. We're still looking at it,
So you don't need that.
but yeah, then it'll be more solid and rigid, so it's better.
Extra piece.
But right now it's going to be like this when you get it. So it's going to be like running inside like that. That's the side channel. The zero gravity, like I said, like this is the mini zero gravity. So people would never pulled it out. This is the mini zero gravity. This spring here you see is we add up based on the blind weight and add up more, stack it up. So far we have to do with only 4 so far with these springs. For the bigger shades we've made. The reason is this is for zebra mainly. We use multiple of these. But if it's a roller shade, we're going to go to, after 30 inches, we're going to go to the regular spring. I'm going to show you in a sec. So when you're going a roller shade, the max we use is 2. Not more than that, because 30 inches, less than that, you need only 2. But if it's interload, we're making a shade 75 or something with a moonlight or twilight fabric, heavier fabric, then I have to go 4. That's where we are down to. And this one doesn't hold the tension when I leave it. That's why it comes with the shipping lock. So this is how the shipping lock is going to be like. So I'll show you that quick actually. That's good that I missed out. So on the, oh, not that. So when you get it, the regular zero gravity, that's how it's going to look like. You're going to have the elastic running around that the hooks. So it doesn't come out on the shipping. That's all we make it for. But anyway, so when you're ready to install, you remove the elastic but leave the pin in. Then you install it. Once you install, then you pull the pin out. That activates the spring. The tension releases it technically with a blind weight on it. That's why when you have to service the blind, you need like the paper clip or this to put it on. Otherwise, when you remove it, this spring, it'll go like this and it'll get stuck in the tube. You can't even pull it out. I've had like when it breaks, it's just so one job honestly. What it is like, I took a flathead screwdriver, pushed it in, I left it in. Like I don't know how to pull that out now. It depends on like when it unwinds it unwinds like comes out and it gets stuck on the tube inside. So it's not going to be easy to like do. That's why I say like use the pin like to take it out. So that's a regular spring. So this is that's a mini spring. This is a regular spring. We have light duty, heavy duty, medium duty, like all 3 styles based on the size. And based on the settings and those stuff, we make the spring a different size based on pulling this guy in and locking it here. Now my tensioning on the spring is different. So what the concept is, like it's going to be like this. Assume this spring, right? If I put the tension on it, based on the spring, what the coil length is, that's going to be a spring. But when I do this and tension it, my tension is different now. Every time the spring diameter and the coil length changes, the spring tension changes. So based on, like that's why we're able to go to that smoothness we get. Based on the width and size, we have the settings here. We have a calculator set up and those stuff. So we put that setting, we make that spring that. Now we put the, like say 5 turns. But if I go 4 setting lower and put 5 turns, that's not going to do the job. So it depends on. So, but even that, we need 3 types of springs to achieve the size variables. So this spring, it automatically locks it. You see the button in the middle of the 2 hooks. When I press that button, it's going to release the tension. Only when it's pressed in, it releases tension. Otherwise, it locks the tension in. So for example, if I put a, say, Allen key here, you're going to have, do it inside the tube, like probably better, but you're going to hear a sound like almost like a breaking sound, but it's not breaking, it's like going against the, I need a bracket maybe. So, when I'm putting a tension on now, I'm going to show you a video. Oh, here. So, 8 clicks is 1 turn. That's the math on the inside gear. So, when I do 8 of this click, I added 1 tension to it, 1 turn to it. Clockwise, anti-clockwise, same thing.
Obviously, you're not pushing in, or else.
Oh, it's already pushed in. Because the bracket is holding it, otherwise it doesn't turn like. So we have to push it in. That's why it's inside. Like when you have a cassette, say the only thing you're gonna have is a shipping lock here. You're gonna remove the shipping lock, turn it, put the shipping lock back. You're done on a cassette. On open roll, easiest method is like rather than doing this, you take the blind out, unroll it, put it back in. That's
the one that comes with the blue tab?
correct. So the blue tab is only for shipping purpose, but this has to be, I'm going to show you the next actually. So this is the blue tab, it's going to come with like this. This has to be removed before you put in the bracket, otherwise you can't because it's going to be on the way. Now, so you remove this. When you install it, like you're installing it like pushing now the button is pushed right now. That's why it activates it right away. When you take it out, like it releases the button already.
I see, okay.
So that's why it's easier than the mini. But when I press this, it's going to lose the tension. Like I didn't put the tension on, but it'll lose the tension when I press it. So that's why, like, when you accidentally press it. But it works with the Allen key. It's like about 5mm Allen key. So it's going to be like this. So you remove that first. You put it on this, and you put it this. I'll show you the video quickly. So I'll show you the open roll quickly, just to.
That's what you got.
No?
You're here, right?
So when you see the end, you will see the difference right away. It's circle or it's the hexagonal shape. If it's hexagonal, it's a regular.
I have the beans here.
It's buffering.
You do have a circular.
Internet is buffering. Sorry. But we say that in the PDF too, but it's easier like.
Jump to the mini.
And we see you the exact seconds and minutes if you want to jump to the next one on the bottom. Like even in the beginning, we say like mini is 34 seconds and the regular is 4 minutes. So if you want to go to 4, just go to 4. You don't want to wait till 4 minutes.
Mini stereographic system.
Okay, this is going to buffer. I'm going to leave it.
Notice it has.
Okay. So 2 things I'm going to show you quickly here is like when you get a cassette, right? Because there's going to be shipping log. That's what it's going to look like. So there's a piece in, and there's going to be a set screw here. So Allen key, same. So you use the Allen key to remove the set screw. Now you can remove it out of the cassette. Otherwise, you won't be able to take it out of the cassette. The regular open roll fascia all will not have anything in there, so you can just put the pin and take it out. That's the difference between these two. On the cassette, for the regular springs, it's just a number 2 screw Robertson. Like you just fired a screw through in here on a cassette. So you remove the screw, then you're ready to take it out. An open roll, you won't have anything. Take it out like completely. So that's what we show in the video there. And the one last thing is we introduced something like like a month ago called pull tab. What that is like, that's like a. So that's the zero gravity tab I told you. That tab you can use it without the telescopic wand. You can just buy the tab. It's available online when you pick it. Zero gravity, that's available. For example, if you're doing a wrapped bottom bar, you don't want a customer to touch the wrapped every time to move it up and down. So you can buy this clip and put it on. You can use the clip to up and down, so you don't touch the fabric. And it's easily removable, easily put it back on.